Hello everyone, welcome back to Nebulae Flames, and in this particular video we are going to go through the advantages and disadvantages, or you can say pros and cons of the telescope that I have been using since more than 2 years. I got this telescope in the year of 2023 in the month of April, in some date, I don't remember the exact date. Apart from that, this was my first telescope. Okay, so as this was my first telescope, of course I have done a very long research, or you can say some months I have just spent just to decide that what kind of telescope I actually want. And as this was my first beginner's telescope, I didn't want it to ruin my experience with astronomy, and I was pretty serious about entering into this field. So I took my time deciding going a budget telescope that I wanted to buy, and I came up with this particular gear, you can say astronomy gear, that is Astromaster 130 EQ. And this was one of my fantastic decision I took. Why? Is because this actually matches the budget that I have. It gives me everything that I needed, that is equatorial mount with a fairly decent amount of focal length, okay, and a fairly decent amount of aperture, that is 130. The focal length is actually 650 mm, and the amazing thing is that this particular telescope is amazing for planetary photography, or you can say planetary observation, lunar observation. You can observe the lunar surface as well as solar surface as well, and not only that, you can do the deep sky observation, or you can say photography as well. So if you have not visited my Instagram page, there you can check out all the capturings I do. I regularly post whatever I capture over there with fantastic quality of images. You can see there the best image that I have taken until now, that is of Orion Nebula. I recently got my hands into an astronomy camera, but initially I started working with my phone that I had, that is Samsung Note 9, and later, after working a lot with my phone, I decided that I will enter buying a dedicated astronomy camera so that I can do longer exposure in a proper way, because phone comes with its own limitations like space and power management and all. So the camera will just directly connect to the laptop, and you're ready to go. So this is another topic, but main thing is that we are here to discuss about the telescope that I'm using since more than 2 years. And since I'm having this much long experience, I am, you can say, one of the good choice to go through all the pros and cons that I'm gonna mention, because I have experienced it to the deepest. In fact, I have even broke one of the leg of the telescope, due to which I have to, you know, struggle a lot when I'm polar aligning this particular mount, and it's not that easy. So I think that's it for the introductory part here. Let's go to our, you can say, astro garage. Actually it is not a garage, but let's go to the room where I'm having my telescope over there, and we will discuss each and everything point by point, that whatever things are going negative and positive, and whether you should buy it or not. Apart from that, not only that, but you will also understand that what this telescope is actually capable of. So let's go. So I'm already back in my room. The telescope is already lying in the corner. Before we continue further in this video, what I will do is that I will take all the parts of this telescope and I will assemble them together over here where I'm standing. And I will organize it in a way so that I can explain each and every points of pros and cons of this telescope, so that you can have a clear idea how it's gonna be if you own this telescope in your real life. So without any further ado, let's do it. Okay, so now we are ready with our setup. So before we go to the negatives, or you can say cons of this telescope, I will first mention all the positives, or you can say advantages or pros of this telescope. We will start with the first item, that is this eyepieces. You can see that these are the two eyepieces that we get inside the box of this telescope, and they are actually pretty good quality when it comes to the budget telescope segment. See, this is 20 mm eyepiece and this is an erecting eyepiece. This is having some fantastic quality of visuals if you use it while observing planets or the surface of the moon. It has fantastic viewing quality with crisp and sharper details. And this one is 10 mm eyepiece. This one is gonna give you a little bit more zoomed view. Why I'm saying that these two eyepieces are positives for this telescope is because they have pretty good quality when it comes to the budget segment telescope, and I don't think so that if you buy telescope for a budget segment you get this kind of eyepiece in any other budget segment. Okay, now we are done with the eyepiece. So the second part is the aperture of this particular tube. This tube comes with 130 mm of aperture. This mirror that is inside, you can see, let me show you, maybe like this. You can see this mirror inside. It's having 130 mm of aperture, means it's gonna capture lights in that surface, and it's having 650 mm of focal length. Apart from that, this dust cap comes with another smaller cap opening. Most probably I use this particular opening that you can see for observing solar surface, and I don't think that we use it for any other purpose. Why we use this one for solar is because I have a very small solar filter that I stick it over here, and I open the cap and I'm ready to use it. The solar filter is smaller size, that's why I use it here. Otherwise we can use another frame and put the solar filter in the whole 130 mm of aperture as well. But as such now I have not came into such needs because I'm already going through the planetary and lunar photography. Apart from that, I'm also going into deep space as well. If you have not seen my deep space images that I have started taking, I have captured some fantastic images of the Orion Nebula that I have already posted in my Instagram page. If you have not visited my Instagram page, then here is the Instagram handle. You can go and check my page. There you will find the amazing results that I have captured. Not only that Orion Nebula, but I have also captured planets like Jupiter, Mars and Saturn as well. You can even see the rings of the Saturn, how amazing it looks. It will give you a clear idea how this particular mirror inside this OTA, or you can say this tube, is capable of. The second but not the least point is that this particular setup comes with an EQ mount. EQ stands for equatorial mount. Equatorial mount is generally used for tracking the sky movement in the night sky. If you go with a Dobsonian setup that comes with only two angle movement, or you can say two axis movement, then it can only move in one particular direction. It is not going to be so comfortable for you to track the sky with that, because you will have to do a lot of effort if you are doing it manually, and if you put a setup, then you will have to computerize the whole setup to automate it when it comes to the tracking. But this particular EQ mount comes with an amazing benefit. Why? Is because this center point that you can see exactly here, let me try to move it. This particular portion that you see, that center point, what we need to do is that we need to match this center point with the polar star, or you can say the center point of the North Pole, so that this particular mount or the whole setup will be matching the center of our planet Earth. And what happens when we do that is that when we are tracking it, the RA axis, that is right ascension axis of this mount, is gonna move smoothly with the movement of the sky. Let me show you. For example, we are like this. Okay. And right now we are tracking some object, just assume that. And what will happen is that, for example, this motor, one simple motor is there with some gearbox. What will it do is that it will just move the RA axis, and it will slowly tilt in the RA axis only. The DAC axis is totally locked over here. This knob is gonna lock the DAC axis, and the RA, that is right ascension axis, is gonna move. Only RA axis will move, and it will do a accurate tracking of the night sky. And you will not need to worry about moving any other axis altogether. Like if you do it in the Dobsonian mount, you will have to move both the axes of the Dobsonian mount while you are tracking. But in this case, once you polar align this particular mount perfectly, you just need to move the RA axis, right ascension axis. That's it. So the DAC axis is not required to move, because the object is going to move with the movement of the planet rotation, that is from east to west. The objects in the sky moves from east to west. So let's move into another point. Another point is the price itself. Price is roughly I bought this telescope in 27,000 Indian rupees. So in dollars you can convert it whatever it can be. If I'm assuming it, then it can be roughly $300 to $400. Okay, but the price always fluctuates. It goes up and down all the time. Okay, now the price justifies whatever we are getting here actually, because we are getting a pretty decent aperture, pretty decent focal length that serves the purpose of going for deep sky and planetary. Of course, the lunar surface also looks amazing. Either you are doing visual observation, or you are just putting a camera of your phone or dedicated astronomy camera in the eyepiece section and capturing some amazing results. So in that case, there is no other problem. And the price justifies because you get an equatorial mount in which you have a tracking feature. The motor drive can cost you around $70, maybe you can say. I have seen this motor drive mostly for 5,000 rupees available in market, and 5,000 rupees must be somewhere around 60, 70 something dollar. I'm not sure, you can check. So if you don't use the motor drive, then you cannot do the long tracking of the sky and take some long exposure in the night sky. Without this motor, what you will do is that you will be just doing visual observation, or maybe you just take some rough photos of lunar surface or planets or any deep sky object. But if you want to go deeper and get some amazing details, you seriously need this motor drive. So if you see this wire that is hanging here, what I have done is that I gave it a direct power supply, because the battery always finishes, and I'm not interested to get a rechargeable battery, because I don't want that the power fluctuates and the speed of the motor changes when the battery goes down in its power. Okay, so that's it for the mount part and the price part. So let's move to another point. The another point is the setup itself. The setup is amazingly simple. Why? You have just one tripod, the equatorial mount, and the counterweight, and this one is OTA, the optical tube. That's it. You don't need to worry about much things. Once you assemble everything together, you just start observing. There is no hurdle. It's really easy. And not only that, this whole setup comes with a very decent quality of material that is used to build the whole gear setup. At least for this price, that will I say. But from here the negative starts. Let's go to the negative points. Okay, so now the first negative point that I'm gonna mention you itself is the mount only. The mount is a little wobbly. When you do long tracking, you will notice that it can have some slight shifts in the long exposure duration. For example, if you're tracking something for some minutes, that's totally fine. But if you're tracking it for 1 hour, you will notice that the mount actually have some kind of weird shifts, due to which sometimes your results or the data gets ruined. And the another point of the cons is that most of the components are made up of plastic. The components that you see, for example, the counterweight and rod and this mount part, they are not plastic. But apart from that, the joints and the hinges and locks that you see, they are made up of plastic. For example, the tripod. My particular own experience, if I mention, the tripod has one leg broken. Once I was trying to set up the whole mount, and meanwhile I was trying to lock using this lock. I was just extending the legs, and when I tried to lock it, what happened is that the place where the threads are, where the lock sits down, it came out. And since that time I'm not able to lock one leg of this telescope when I extend it. And I will have to think about some ideas, how can I solve this problem. I already have an idea. I will use it and I will show you in another video in case if I make one. So when it comes to the quality, do not expect that it will be superly amazing, because you are going for a budget segment. So in case of budget segment, this is amazing. But when it comes to the long term usage, you will realize that it has a lot of little issues, but not bad for your beginner experience actually. So let's move to another point. So the another point is about the collimation of this telescope. What is a collimation? Collimation is the alignment of primary and secondary mirror in front of each other in a perfect way. But we will go about the collimation in another video in detail. But for now, just keep that in mind, that this whole setup is very easy. But when it comes to the OTA, means this tube part, it has two mirrors, that is primary and secondary. The primary mirror captures all the light data and it reflects it on the secondary mirror, which is placed over here right in the center, and it reflects directly to our eyepiece or the camera that we place over there. When it comes to the cleaning of this telescope, or you can say moving, or if you do any kind of shifting with this telescope, most probably you might mess up the collimation of the mirrors. And when you mess up the collimation, you end up having some wrong image data. When it comes to the portability of this telescope, if you take it somewhere, if you travel with it, or if you shift it somewhere, or even if you just clean the telescope from its inside, you have to take out all the mirror and all. Collimation becomes the most complicated thing that you need to do before you do anything else, if you want to start again your observation in the night sky. So if you are planning to buy this whole setup, keep this one most important point, that the collimation will be a pain for you. And there are tools available to do the collimation perfectly, but I will suggest that it's better you don't buy them, because they are actually highly expensive when it comes to what they are providing. Actually, the the body of that particular device, I will attach it over here if I find the image. The body of that particular device is so simple. You can even make it yourself if you know how to design it, or there are other simple way how you can collimate. I will make a dedicated video when it comes to the collimation. There we will understand how to do the collimation, what is a collimation, and so on. But if I tell you very shortly, then when it comes to the collimation, you can take a paper, or you can say a cardboard, very small, and take the opening size and cut the cardboard according to the opening of the eyepiece barrel, and place that cardboard and make a center hole. Exactly in the center you need to make the hole, and that's all. You need to check from that hole if everything is in the center. I won't be able to demonstrate you over here right now because we are not making this video about collimation, but this can be a little bit helpful for you if you do it in future. So again, if you are planning to buy this thing, the whole setup, the most complicated part is collimation. Once you collimate it, you are good to go. I generally don't focus so much on collimation. I just collimate it once and I keep using it. But in my further projects, I'm planning to focus more about collimation because I know the better quality data will help me go more deeper into the deep sky. Okay, now we are already done with most of the points, but there is one very complicated but most crucial point about this whole mount, the whole equatorial mount. I will try to show you with the video. I will take the camera over here and I will show you that this EQ mount, if you are tracking using this EQ mount and you just leave it like this, then there will be some points in the whole tracking session that this, let me unlock the access, that this mount will be hitting the motor drive. I hope you can see it here. The mount will be hitting the motor drive, and it's really a pain that if you try to observe the meridian point objects. For example, if there is an object which is rising from east and you have started to track it from east, for example, let's say an object called Andromeda Galaxy. Just for an example, it's not exactly in our meridian point, means right above our head. It's a little bit on the other side. But my point is, if it rises from the east and we are continuing to track from the east to west, what it will happen is that there will be a point where this telescope body will be hitting the motor drive, this motor drive, and it's really a big pain because you work really hard to get that data in the continuous form, but this thing makes you stop the whole process in the middle. So I hope you have understood everything about this telescope and you will make a wise decision for yourself. This telescope, no wonder, is the best choice for beginners, because this has taught me a lot of things when it comes to what is an equatorial mount, how a Dobsonian telescope, sorry, not Dobsonian, but how the OTA, I mean the OTA tube, how I should maintain it, what is collimation, and how to polar align. Everything is covered by this whole setup. This has taught me a lot of things for lunar observation, planetary observation, deep sky observation. So when it comes to starting, or you can say beginner astrophotography or astronomy observation, you can go for it blindly. Just go for it, because it's not that expensive when it comes to what it is providing. You're getting a motor drive. Without motor drive you cannot track. You are getting EQ mount, you are getting 650 mm of mirror that is gonna give you 650 of focal length. That is gonna give you a pretty decent amount of zooming into the planets, nebulas, and lunar surface. If you use one 2x Barlow lens, then it's more than enough what you need, what you can take out from this whole setup. So let's wrap up this video over here. That's it for this video. If you have any query or any question related to this telescope, kindly mention it into the comment. I will reply each and every comment. And if you have watched this video until here, make sure you give this video a like and hit the subscribe button. This will motivate me to keep working on this kind of videos, because I do this thing as a part of my hobby, but when it comes to making videos, it needs a lot of effort. I need to take a lot of time, so it would be really amazing if you also show some kind of support. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. See you next time.